Hey everybody, welcome to Recovery TV. I'm here today with my friend and guest, Brittany Hunter, who's going to talk to you about how to help your child stay nourished while on ADHD meds, so stay with us. Thanks for tuning in to Recovery TV. I have a special guest with me today, Brittany Hunter. She's a licensed dietitian and a registered dietitian. And I feel like this is the best person to really talk to you about this really important issue on how to help your child stay nourished while on ADHD meds. Because as we know, with certain medications affect children differently in terms of their appetite and their nourishment. And so she has some really important tips that you don't want to miss. But before we begin, I just want to remind everybody to please subscribe to our channel if you like the videos that we're putting out. And don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified when more important videos are posted. And also, you definitely want to watch till the very end because Brittany's going to give you a special tip regarding sugar that you definitely want to know about. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to turn this over to Brittany. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. So step one, you want to plan ahead. It's really important with our children's diets that we're able to consistently feed them and give them balanced meals. But also it's really important with children who are on ADHD medication who don't really feel the hunger cues to be able to have their parents kind of step in and plan ahead some meals and snacks for them. And it really depends on your child's age, but anywhere from 7 to 16, children have a hard time really feeling and honoring their hunger cues when they're on these medications. And so being able to maybe during the summertime set some timers for your children to be able to remember that it's time to eat a meal or a snack, have some snacks on hand, set out, portioned, ready for them to eat, and then have regular meals as much as possible with your family. Also, you want to have meals portioned for your child if you're unable to be with them so that they can remember that they need to have their meal. If your kid is in school, you want to be able to plan ahead with the school on getting your child the nourishment they need, especially if they're starting to have trouble with growth or weight loss on their medications. And the best way that you can do this is contact the school nurse and talk with them about how your child will need regular snacks throughout the day, and then have snacks at the nurse's station. They will call your child in, and it's very simple. Your kid can come down into the nurse's office and have a snack and then go right back to class. And then also making sure you're packing lunches for them as well. Remind your kid of the importance that they finish their meals and snacks for their ability to grow and also to be able to stay on the medication that helps them with school. 3 meals and 3 snacks works really well with children because it helps them to not have to eat big portions all at once, especially if they're having issues on their ADHD medication with fullness. So being able to have your child eat by the rule of 3s, 3 meals, 3 snacks, no more than 3 hours apart is best for the kids. The second tip is to give them access to foods that they enjoy. A lot of times as parents, we have a lot of thoughts about how we feed our kids, and we want to feed our kids healthy, and it's really important to feed them good balance and healthy foods. But we also need to remember that they are kids, and sometimes they're going to be picky about some things that we do feed them. And especially if your kid's having a hard time with growth or feeling hungry on these medications, it's best to just give them things that they enjoy and that they like. Being able to plan meals that you know they tolerate really well, and being able to have snacks on hand that they really like is important. One of the things that I've run into a lot when I'm working with children with ADHD and their parents is the misnomer that sugar can cause hyperactivity, thus making the ADHD worse. A lot of times we try and limit sugar in children because we think it causes hyperactivity, but the Institute of Medicine actually looked over 23 studies over a 12-year span of time and found that hyperactivity is not caused by sugar intake in children. So just a big one to kind of remember. So easy access to foods that kids enjoy on a schedule, and then we'll move to tip number 3. And the third tip, which I feel like is probably the most important, is to stay in touch with your healthcare team. If your child's receiving medication from a psychiatrist or a pediatrician or any other healthcare provider for their ADHD and they're having issues with appetite, you want to make sure that you're getting them weighed regularly and that they're plotting their growth charts, because if they're falling off of the growth charts or if they're not growing or maybe lose a little bit of weight, then it's really important to get them back on track. And at that point, you really want to see a dietitian who specializes in ADHD and behavioral health nutrition, who can help your child get back on track with nourishment and help you have some tips to kind of help them throughout the process as well. Sugars, as we talked about earlier, with them not causing hyperactivity, but they're also really demonized in our culture. A lot of times we feel like carbohydrates are bad and sugars are bad and that they're harmful to our body, but actually sugar is the body's preferred fuel and really the only fuel that the brain can function properly on. And so a lot of times we feel like, okay, I can have an apple or a vegetable and not really realize that that's a carbohydrate-based food, as well as maybe say a candy bar or a piece of candy. And our body doesn't recognize the difference when we break down those sugars. It all breaks down to glucose and we use it as fuel for our bodies, and we can have a sustained fuel so that we can get through our day.
Thank you, Brittany, for those tips. I hope you guys watching found those tips to be very helpful. I particularly like the bonus tip because we demonize sugar so much in our culture. And one thing that I found interesting about that is that my kids will often say at any particular time, whatever we're cooking, maybe we're having French fries or something at night, they'll say, "Dad, is this healthy?" And it's a hard question for me to answer, and probably because I'm a therapist that overthinks things at times. But what I tell them is that, the food itself is not unhealthy. I mean, you can have French fries; they're not unhealthy. But if you have a lifestyle of eating greasy foods or candy bars all the time, then that's when it becomes unhealthy.
It really is just about balance. And in my sessions, I talk with my clients, instead of healthy or unhealthy or moralizing foods as good and bad, we talk about supportive or non-supportive foods to our health.
Right.
And so in the moment, if I'm at a birthday party and I'm gonna have some cake with my friends, we don't say, well, this is unhealthy. I would say, is this supportive or non-supportive of the life that I want to live?
Right.
And so to be able to eat cake with my friends is supportive, and so I have that cake. And then again, eating other foods that are balanced helps as well too.
Exactly. I love it. I hope you guys found a lot of benefit in that. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel. I'm sure we'll have Brittany back for some more dietary tips. But also make sure you check out the description of this video, where we'll have all her contact information and any resources that she has to provide us that will be helpful. So thank you.
Thanks.